Με πλησίασε σε ένα ανοιχτό γήπεδο κοντά στη γειτονιά μου ένας προπονητής, ο οποίος λέγεται Σπύρος Βεληνιάτης. Με βοήθησε πάρα πολύ αυτά τα χρόνια.
Before Giannis Antetokounmpo would find his way from selling sunglasses on the streets of Athens to being drafted by the Milwaukee Bucks in the NBA. Before Giannis Antetokounmpo would win his way to the NBA Finals, facing off against the Phoenix Suns for the 2021 NBA Championship.
To be champion, we got to bring it. Game 4, we got to bring it. We got to play together. We got to believe in our winning habits.
Before Giannis Antetokounmpo would have over 9 million fans on Instagram, 1.6 million fans on Twitter, and nearly 73,000 subscribers on YouTube at the time of this recording. Giannis Antetokounmpo, the man who is best known as the Greek Freak, is a basketball superstar of such remarkable ability that he's become one of the most popular celebrities in all of Greece, the country of his birth. But for most of Giannis' childhood, he was largely considered a foreigner by those same very people he met on the streets of Athens. As the son of African immigrants, he and his parents lived in constant fear of deportation back to Nigeria. Not only that, but he had to fight tooth and nail to get people to believe in his abilities on the hardwood, even if that meant sharing running shoes with his brothers because his family was so poor that they could only afford the one pair. Today though is a different story altogether, and Giannis, well, he's basically the king of the NBA. LeBron fans, contain your anger, with the Milwaukee Bucks making a run all the way to the finals for the first time since the 1970s. Giannis is looking to bring the Larry O'Brien Trophy home to Milwaukee, Greece, and Nigeria. Now, if you do remember, Giannis actually came very close to winning the championship in 2019, but we remember how that went, don't we, Giannis?
I have crippling depression.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Clyde Smith. Recent drops in this series have included looks at Young Blue and Ziaz. And since this show works off a request, please don't forget to leave us some ideas of who you want to see next. And I'll see you guys after the intro. Giannis Ugo Antetokounmpo was born on December 6, 1994 in the capital city of Greece, Athens. As the child of Nigerian immigrants, Giannis and his 4 brothers were never officially recognized as Greek citizens, meaning that they were in fact stateless. Giannis' parents, Charles and Veronica Antetokounmpo, moved from Lagos, Nigeria to Greece in 1991, hoping to find a better future for themselves and their children. In the process, they left behind their eldest son, Francis, to be raised by his grandparents. After arriving to their newest home, Charles began working as a handyman, and his wife picked up the odd job as a babysitter. Needless to say, they often struggled to make ends meet. Giannis once told Adrian Wojnarowski on the Woj podcast, "Sometimes I would go to school, no breakfast. Sometimes, not every time, I would come back, sometimes no food." Giannis grew up heavily saturated in Greek culture, learning the language and going to school where he eventually picked up a basketball for the first time at the age of 7. When he was out and about in Athens, Giannis was as Greek as they come, but the moment he stepped back inside his home, he was living the Nigerian way. He told The Undefeated, "At the end of the day, when I go home, there is no Greek culture. It's straight up Nigerian culture. It's about discipline. It's about respecting your elders, having morals." Giannis' mother would only speak to them in the Nigerian language of Igbo, which is one of the 4 official Nigerian languages and is spoken by about 18 million people in the country. As a youngster, Giannis would play pickup games of basketball in the shadow of the Acropolis in the gritty neighborhood of Sapolia. I hope that's... I don't know how else I would say it. Back then, Giannis displayed little in the way of basketball acumen, and he'd fumble around with the ball as much as he would anything else. He also had to share his running shoes with his brothers whenever they played because his family could only afford to own the one pair. I mean, talk about roughing it, having to switch shoes in the middle of the game. I mean, could you imagine that? But most of the time, in order to help support his family, Giannis and his brothers would hit the streets, looking to sell CDs, DVDs, sunglasses, and other knickknacks to help keep his family fed. I mean, talk about a hustler. Let's also not forget about the fact that Giannis, in his rookie season, transferred all the money in his bank account to his family back home, only for him to have not even enough money to buy a taxi on his way to the basketball game. I mean, this guy really shows out for his family. Eventually, Giannis' opportunity to really make something of himself would come at the hands of the basketball coach, Spiros Vitalius, who is widely credited for the first coach noticing Giannis's incredible raw potential. Spiros originally played basketball in Florida as an exchange student, and he took on the head coaching duties for a junior team in the middle ranks of Greek amateur basketball around 2007. Soon after, he began taking walks around Greek neighborhoods, looking for children of African immigrants who had the potential God-given abilities and street smarts to excel at the game. When Spiros first laid eyes on Giannis, he believed that he had found everything that he was looking for and more, rolled into one unbelievable package.
Μας πλησίασε και μου είπε σε μένα και στον αδελφό μου, το μεγάλο του Θανάση, και μου είπε ελάτε να παίξετε στο φιλαθλητικό μπάσκετ.
At the time, Giannis was only 13 years old. Spiros met with Giannis's parents and offered to find them work and could pay them as much as 800 euros a week, as long as they signed off on Giannis coming to train with him. When asked if this was a legal endeavor on his part, Spiros told the New York Times, "I knew that Nigerians don't care about basketball. They care about soccer. You need to bribe them, the parents. Otherwise, they will not be interested. Everything is legal and everything is illegal in Greece. It depends on how you label it." When Giannis arrived at the gym ready to begin his new adventure, he didn't know how to dribble or even make a layup. Most of his teammates balked at his inclusion on the team, but pretty quickly they came to realize that Giannis was as competitive as they come, and he simply did not like to lose. Spiros drilled Giannis extensively, preparing him for every possible position, and Giannis never gave anything less than 110%, oftentimes staying in the gym until nearly midnight and sometimes even sleeping there on an exercise mat in the weight room, instead of walking home in the dark. I mean, this guy is a certified hustler. By the time he was 16, Giannis was one of the top players in all of Greece, despite the fact that he was playing in the second tier of all the amateur leagues. That caught the eye of nearly every NBA franchise, and teams would constantly send scouts to try and suss out Giannis's true potential. When the 2013 draft came along, Giannis declared for it at only the age of 19 years old. The question was, would any team be willing to take something of a flyer on a young man who lacked refinement but had the potential to be something special? Well, 14 other NBA teams passed on Giannis, but with the 15th pick, the Milwaukee Bucks decided to take the risk. I mean, so did Masai Ujiri, the manager of the Toronto Raptors. He was looking at Giannis, but that's another story for another time. Sure, Giannis's first season could have gone better. He was even given one of the lowest 2K ratings in the entire game for the 2014 edition. The Bucks ended with a 15-67 record after all, but Giannis never gave up and soaked in all the institutional knowledge he could from the professionals he now spent every day around. More than that, Giannis fell in love with the city of Milwaukee, who embraced him in a way the country of Greece never did until he became a world-famous player that he is today.
I love Milwaukee, no?
I love the Bucks love me too.
They never made me feel like I didn't belong here. And that's what have made me great so far.
By only his third season, Giannis was scoring an average of nearly 17 points a game, and the Bucks reached the playoffs 3 times in the first 5 seasons of his career. In the 2018-2019 season, only 5 years after being drafted in the first place, Giannis would become the first Bucks player to ever win the league MVP. During his acceptance speech, he spoke lovingly about his father, who had just recently passed away a few months prior.
Every day that I step on the floor, I always think about my dad, and that motivates me and it pushes me to, play harder and move forward. Even though when my body's sore, even though when I don't feel like playing, I always go and show up and I always go do the right thing.
The unstoppable force that he is, Giannis would go on to win the MVP again the following season. And while playoff success would prove to be elusive, especially after the heartbreaking end to his seasons in 2019, sorry again about that, truly sorry, and 2020. Giannis has finally led the Milwaukee Bucks to the promised land of the NBA Finals as they take on Chris Paul and his Phoenix Suns. And this time, Drake will not be there to distract him on the sidelines. A pretty remarkable story, right? That must be why Disney has recently announced that they've optioned the rights to make a movie about Giannis's life. So be on the lookout for that on Disney Plus sometime soon. As for the rest of Giannis's story, like whether or not he wins his very first championship this season, and maybe even a Finals MVP to go along with it, well, that's for another time and another place. After all, this is before they were famous. I truly do hope that these Raptors jokes did not cut too deep. This is all in good fun, so please be sure to let us know your thoughts in the comments down below and follow us on Instagram to vote on who's next, and I'll catch you guys in another video.